And the idea that you stand here before us and talk about that you're strong on immigration is on its face the height of hypocrisy.
Governor Romney?
Rick, I don't think I've ever hired an illegal in my life. And so I'm afraid, I'm looking forward to finding your facts on that, because that just doesn't...
I'll tell you what the facts are.
Rick, again,
you had the
Rick,
I'm speaking.
The newspaper.
It's time for you to tell the truth.
You get 30 seconds.
Time for you to tell
the way the rules work here is that I get 60 seconds.
Well, no, but the American
and then you get 30 seconds to respond, right?
And they want
Anderson,
to hear you say that you knew
would you please wait?
Working.
Are you just going to keep talking?
Yes,
are you going to let me finish with what I have to say? Them and said, you have a problem with allowing someone to finish speaking, and I suggest that if you want to become president of the United States, you got to let both people speak. So first, let me speak. Got nothing in return.
That's the time, Governor, on the question. We're going to adhere to time very quickly. But let me.
I get 60 seconds.
Yes, sir. And
that was 30.
The 60.
Sorry, it started at yellow, so I have much more time to go.
You know what, Governor?
The president is the commander-in-chief and ought to be informed by a lot of different voices, including those of the commanders.
Speaker Gingrich.
Look, I've got a good... He gets a response, I get a response. Of course the commander-in-chief makes the final decision.
How about the rest
of course
How about us who haven't had a response?
Of course the commander-in-chief makes the final decision.
But I'm just saying, you were for individual mandates, my friend.
You know what? You've raised that before, Rick, and you're simply wrong.
It was true then.
No.
It's true now.
Rick, I'll tell you what. $10,000 bucks? $10,000 bet?
I'm not in the betting business, but
okay.
I'll show you the. I'll show you the book.
I've got the book, and
we'll show you.
and I wrote the book.
Left the world of politics, went back into business. Now I have the opportunity, I believe, to use the experience I have. You got a surprised look at your face. Wait, wait, it's still my time.
Are you going to tell people you're not going to run for re-election for president if you win?
Rick, it's still my time.
I'm just asking.
Okay.
Which is, I believe, those people who've come here illegally should not be given a preferential path to become permanent residents or citizens of this country. You shake your head.
Look, I'll be happy to show you the quotes of what you said, that people should have a pathway to citizenship.
And the path,
not citizenship, pathway to be legal in this country.
What's the gross revenue of Bain in the years you were associated with it? What's the gross revenue?
Very substantial, but I think it's irrelevant compared to the fact that you were working for Freddie Mac.
Wait a second.
You were working
very
for
substantial. Did Bain ever do any work with any company which did any work with the government, like Medicare?
We didn't do any work with the government. I didn't have an office in K Street. I wasn't a lobbyist. I've never worked in Washington. So you were working there. We have congressmen who also say that you came and lobbied them in favor of it. You have congressmen who say that you came and lobbied them with regards to Medicare Part D. At the same time, your senator was taking in contributions.
You just jumped a long way over here, friend.
Well, I will not apologize for having been successful.
The rhetoric on immigration, Governor, has been intense. You've had an ad running saying that Speaker Gingrich called Spanish, quote, the language of the ghetto. What do you mean by that?
I haven't seen the ad, so I'm sorry I don't get to see all the TV ads. I don't know what did he say that? I doubt that's my ad, but we'll take a look and find out. There are a bunch of ads out there that are being organized by other people.
But stand by for that. We did double check just now, Governor, that ad that we talked about. It was one of your ads. It's running here in Florida on the radio, and at the end you say, I'm Mitt Romney and I approved this ad. So it is here.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask the Speaker a question. Did you say what the ad says or not?
We discovered to our shock, Governor Romney owns shares of both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Governor Romney made $1 million off of selling some of that. Governor Romney owns share and has an investment in Goldman Sachs, which is today foreclosing on Floridians. So maybe Governor Romney, in the spirit of openness, should tell us how much money he's made off of how many households that have been foreclosed by his investments. But let's be clear about that.
And Mr. Speaker, I know that sounds like an enormous revelation, but have you checked your own investments? You also have investments through mutual funds that also invest in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Right. We will go to the moon in this decade.
I spent 25 years in business. If I had a business executive come to me and say they wanted to spend a few $100 billion to put a colony on the moon, I'd say you're fired.
Free ridership has gone up 5-fold in Massachusetts. 5 times the rate it was before. Why?
It's total
because
complete.
I'll be happy to give you the study. 5 times the rate it's gone up. Why? Then pay high-cost insurance, which is what's happened as a result of Romney Care.
First of all, it's not worth getting angry about. Secondly, if you had not supported him, if we had said no to Arlen Specter, we would not have Obamacare. So don't look at me. Take a look in the mirror.
Gentlemen,
supporting Arlen Specter over Pat Toomey. That was a very torturous route to support a guy who's a pro-choice. Who's a pro-choice candidate. By the way, in 1996,
let's move the conversation along.
Let's get back to Medicare. Let's get back to Medicare. The president said that the government can provide the services.
Well, here's a specific.
But let's mention the other one. Let's talk the big one.
No, let's not.
The last point I'd make before
2 minutes is up, sir.
No, I think I had 5 seconds before you interrupted me.
But my experience is the private sector typically is able to provide a better product.
We're going to move to a
no, I have to respond to that, which is my experience.
Mr. Romney, Governor Romney, there'll be plenty of chances here to go on, but I want to. We have all these folks. I will let you absolutely.
That Detroit answer and the rest of the answer way off the mark.
Okay, I got to move you along. And the next question is for you.
He actually got the first question, so I get the last question, last answer on that one.
Actually, in the follow-up, it doesn't quite work like that, but I'm going to move you along to taxes.
I'm used to being interrupted.
All right, we're going to move you both.
That's the strategy you need on all of the above strategy, and that's what we're going to do in the next 4 years.
But that's not what you've done in the last 4 years. That's the problem. Sure. In the last 4 years, you cut permits and licenses on federal land and federal waters in half.
Not true, Governor Romney.
So how much did you cut them by?
Not true.
By how much did you cut them by then?
Governor, we have actually produced more oil.
No. How much did you cut licenses and permits on federal land and federal waters?
Governor Romney, here's what we did. There were a whole bunch of oil companies.
No, I had a question, and the question was, how much did you cut them by?
You want me to answer
How much did you cut them by?
I'm happy to answer the question.
All right, and it is?
Here's what happened. So if you want to drill on public lands, you use it or you lose it.
Okay, now
and so what we did was take away those leases, and we are now reletting them so that we can actually make a profit.
And production on government lands is down.
No, it isn't.
Production on government land of oil is down 14%.
Governor,
and production on gas is down 9%.
It's just not true.
It's absolutely true. Look, there's no question but that the people recognize that we have not produced more oil and gas on federal lands. I don't think anyone really believes that you're a person who's going to be pushing for oil and gas and coal. You'll get your chance in a moment. I'm still speaking.
Well,
and the answer is, I don't believe people think that's the case because that wasn't a question.
Okay.
That was a statement. I don't think the American people believe that. I'm offsetting some of the reductions, withholding down some of the deductions. And
Governor, I need to have you both hang up. I understand the stakes here. I understand both of you, but I will get run out of town if I don't allow
you, Mr. President. I just described to you precisely how I do it with a single number that people can put, and they can put their deductions and credits into that bucket.
Mr. President, we're keeping track, I promise you.
I think I was supposed to get that last answer, but I want to point out that I don't believe.
I don't think so, Candy.
I don't believe.
I want to make sure our timekeepers are working here.
The timekeepers are all working.
Let me mention something else the President said. It was a moment ago, and I didn't get a chance to when he was describing Chinese investments and so forth.
Candy, hold on a second.
Mr. President, I'm still speaking.
I'm sorry.
Mr. President, let me finish. I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue.
Governor Romney, if you can make it short. See all these people? They've been waiting for you. Could you make it short?
A point. Mr. President, have you looked at your pension? Have you looked at your pension?
I've got to say.
Mr. President, have you looked at your pension?
You know, I don't look at my pension. It's not as big as yours, so it doesn't take as long.
Let me give you some. Let me give you some advice.
I don't check it that often.
Let me give you some advice. Look at your pension. You also have investments in Chinese companies. You also have investments outside the United States. You also have investments through a Cayman's trust.
We're sort of way off topic
Mr.
here,
President,
Governor Romney.
We're a little off topic here.
Completely off the immigration.
I thought we were talking about immigration.
And we were.
I came back to what you spoke about.
I want to make sure.
If I could have you sit down, Governor Romney.
You said in the Rose Garden, the day after the attack, it was an act of terror. It was not a spontaneous demonstration. Is that what you're saying?
Please proceed, Governor.
I want to make sure we get that for the record, because it took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
He did, in fact, sir. So let me call it an act of terror.
Can you say that a little louder, Candy?
He did call it an act of terror.
And I make those decisions.
All right. Let's go, and that leads us, this takes us right to the next segment, Governor. America's longest war, Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Bob,
Governor, you get to go first.
Okay, but you can't have the president just lay out a whole series of items without giving me a chance.
With respect, sir, you had laid out quite a program there.
Well, that's probably true.
We'll agree. We'll catch you up.
And fortunately,
Governor Romney,
the president
that's not what you said.
Fortunately, the president. You can take a look at the op-ed.
Governor Romney, you can take a look at the op-ed. You did not say that you would provide governor help.
I said that we would provide guarantees. The idea that has been suggested that I would liquidate the industry. Of course not. Of course not.
Let's check the record.
That's the height of silliness. I have never said I would liquidate the industry.
Governor,
I want to keep the industry going and thriving.
Research is
great. Providing funding to universities and think tanks, great. But investing in companies, absolutely not.
Governor,
that's the wrong way to go. I'm still speaking. So I want to make sure that we make America more competitive.
Yeah. And it's 3 agencies of government when I get there that are gone: commerce, education, and the what's the third one there? Let's see.